Welcome to Raunchy Power Hour, a book club for discussing romance, from the erotic to the erroneous. As always, this is an explicit podcast and contains strong language, adult themes, and sexual content. If you are sensitive to these things, we urge you calmly but sincerely to turn off your radio now. This month, we are reading The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore. This is part 2 of The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. This podcast will contain spoilers of the entire book. If you want to read along with us, stop listening now. It's okay. We'll wait for you to come back. This book contains themes of death. You have been warned.
I'm your producer, Ashlyn.
I'm one of your hosts, Sydney.
And I'm the other pumpkin spice hater, Christina. Now get ready to get raunchy.
Christina, I have a question for you.
Oh? What is it?
So, a lot of these romance books that take place in the perfect fall town, we have a lot of cute little names. Dream Harbor, Bright Falls, which is a different series, but I also really like it. Would you name your own little fall town that has two words in it?
A 2-word fall town. Oh, yep. Man.
It's gotta give small town. It's gotta be quaint.
It's gotta be quaint. I'm trying to think of places that I've been that I can pull from. And it's gotta be quaint. And it's gotta be fall.
It's gotta be quaint.
Things? Cinnamon Junction.
Cinnamon Junction. Actually, that's not bad. Because, in XX, it was Graves Glen. So... Yeah, you gotta do something. You gotta do something. See, I have been thinking about this all day. Because I was like, oh, I need to get her with this. And I think if I were to name my dream, like, small, quaint fall town in which a little romance would happen, I think I would call it Applewood Grove.
Applewood Grove. Okay, that is 3 words. You said 2.
No, Applewood, as in it would be.
Oh, that's okay. I got you. Okay, that's 2 words. I'll give it.
Yeah. See.
That's cute. That's cute. I would go to Applewood Grove.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be like peak fall vibes.
Oh yeah, and obviously apples, like everything apple themed.
Well, the whole thing is that Johnny Appleseed came from there, so duh.
Obviously.
A minute. I am looking up. God damn it. I was looking up the name of the Gilmore Girls thing, and it's called Stars Hollow. And I'm like, yeah, it's cutesy fall vibe. Damn.
Did you not know it's called Stars Hollow?
Babes, I've never seen Gilmore Girls.
Oh my goodness, you just read Gilmore Girls, let me tell you.
I know I should, but I don't know. I've seen things about what's her name?
Rory,
that she's annoying, and I don't know if I could take it.
Only at the end. She's fun in the beginning.
Okay, I'll try.
She's a book lover.
I heard she's pretentious though about it. I mean, I am too.
Sometimes.
I take that back. I am.
I was like, come on, you're hating on romance books right now.
I do, but I do like romance books sometimes when they're good.
Mm-hmm.
That was such a read. Sometimes when it's good. I'm so sorry. That was such a read.
Well, that's a great segue into what did we just read. So I've got us a little recap of the last section.
Okay.
And I think I can maybe do it in 30 seconds. Because let's be honest.
30 seconds.
Not all happened. I think I can.
Okay, 1 minute. Let me get the timer.
Hey, this is the quickest meet cute we have read. So I think this is going to be the quickest little summary we get.
I think that is very much appropriate. All right. Are we ready? 30 seconds on the clock. Ready, set, go.
All right, so we start with our two characters, Jeannie and Logan, who meet on page 2, I think. Jeannie is 28 years old. She yaps a lot. She came from Boston. Now she's moved to run Aunt Dot's Pumpkin Spice Cafe in Dream Harbor. Logan, 30-year-old, bearded, flannel, gruff voice. He's a farmer. He lives with his grandparents. He's an orphan. He had a failed proposal. That's his problem, is that he had a failed proposal.
That's it. That's all you got. That was 30 seconds. That was 30 seconds.
Oh, no. Guys,
that's all they get to know. Nope, that's all they get to know. Nope, that's all they get to know. Guys, we gotta go into it now. Oh, no, we have to go into it. It's like you guys have to go listen to our first episode. Why are you here if you're listening to this episode anyway? Go listen to the other one.
Go listen to the other one. Go listen about Harry Styles. I won't give you context.
Nope, none whatsoever.
No context. Also, Casper. Read about Casper. Or listen about Casper.
I love that you were like, no, I'll go back. I'm like, nope, that's it. That's all you get. That's all you get. No more.
Go back, guys. Just listen. We did this already. Why do you need me to say it?
Exactly.
I already did. Where we left off last time was Jeannie heard more noises. She calls her brother, not the cops. She doesn't tell anybody else. So what happened? Well, someone broke a window. That's kind of just what happened.
Yeah, someone just broke her window.
That's so incredibly dramatic compared to what has been happening. It's been like, oh, my trash cans fell over. Oh, there's a cat scratching. Now my window is broken in. That's insane.
Well, we do notice that there is quite a bit of what is it called? When things are taken up a notch.
Escalation.
Thank you. I couldn't say the word for a moment, so I was like, I'm just gonna let Christina say it.
Yeah, it escalates very quickly.
Very quickly.
And Jeannie tells this to Logan, but after the day, after it all happened. And so he's obviously going to get really upset about it. And so they talk about it, blah, blah, blah. And it's at the town meeting, and it's kind of not the place to be doing this.
No. But Logan's being like, but Logan's being like, like that kind of thing.
He's so protective, but not in a way that makes sense.
For no reason. I'm like, boy, you have known this woman for less than a week.
I was just about to say, they don't have not known each other that long.
They have not.
But then they get in trouble because they're doing this at the town meeting. So they're talking, everyone's super nosy, they get in trouble. So their punishment is that they have to judge the costume contest.
Honestly, that would be my worst nightmare too, because I would want everyone to win because I love costumes.
It sounds like something that might be fun because it's they get to be judgmental. You love to be judgy.
Yeah, I do love to be judgy. But yeah, they do explain that it's very cutthroat apparently for just a family fun Halloween costume contest.
This is very Stars Hollow, very Gilmore Girls. They get really dramatic about things, so I can see exactly where Lori is pulling this from. It's a little too on the nose. I know you can't speak of it, but
I can't because I've never seen the show. I know the vibe. I was about to say, guys, I do understand the vibe. I do understand specific plot points from the show because it's been out for a long time. But yep.
Yeah, we're pretty much following it. But then so Logan's like, oh, well, I'll drive her home, I guess. And they park out front in the town square where, again, everyone is. Everyone loves this town square because everyone lives really close to it. They get it on in the truck out front.
They get freaky deaky in the front of his car.
Which is really crazy because it's very high school of them, and I think they mentioned this. It's very youthful for these old folks.
The old folks, they're only a couple years older than us, Christina.
They're really not that old.
No. I don't know. I think that's what bugged me with some of the romance in this book, specifically between Jeannie and Logan, is that it felt very high school. And it's like, you can have a romance where it's not like so hormonal, I guess is the best way I could put it.
That's true, because it's like, it's very much like they're like, oh, we were talking, we got in trouble, like, okay, high school. And then it's like,
Yeah.
I was ripping off my clothes in the front seat of his car.
And in the front of his car.
Which, okay, wait a minute. With the playlist doesn't include anything about this, and there's a Taylor Swift song for this. Out of all the Taylor Swift songs in that playlist, and nothing about a front seat of the car.
Interesting. That's all I gotta say.
Oh yeah, and it's interrupted by Jeannie hitting the horn with her butt.
And with her ass. I love that. I was like, that fits. That fits.
It's a really dramatic way to end the scene, and I guess like they mention it,
Yeah.
they keep getting like stopped in weird dramatic ways.
It was getting annoying, and this was only like the third or fourth time it happened. I was like, just let them have sex.
And we were past the halfway point.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, let's bring this up and talk about this, because we talked about this a little bit in the group chat. I'm going to take the group chat into the podcast. But Christina, you said you're pretty much okay with a romance book not having any sex scenes in it. And
Yeah,
I'm
totally
curious what your viewpoint was at this point of the book when they kept like teasing that there was going to be spice. And this was like advertised as a book that was going to be like pretty spicy.
Okay, as a person who is okay with no spice in their romance, I also have read a lot of spicy romance. And if this is supposed to be spicy, I have a point of reference. And I would say that this was not spicy.
No.
I'm really confused about that. Everyone's talking about how spicy it was, and honestly, like, of the things that were like, it was mostly open door, but it just wasn't very dramatic. It was very vanilla, very the same. Yeah. Lots of making out, which I don't think
against
is
the wall.
included in against the wall. Don't forget the wall.
Don't forget the wall.
And I'm
or
like,
the fact he kept picking
spicy.
her up and she kept like putting her like legs around his waist. Like that was a constant reference. And I'm like, okay, we get it. We know what sex position you like, Lori.
But why? Yeah. I don't know. Did you think it was spicy?
No, not whatsoever. I don't know. I think what failed it for me too is the fact I didn't really feel a real connection between Jeannie and Logan. I wanted there to be more. I wanted to like feel this connection, but I feel like it's hotter when it's like two people who are like give a good reason for why they're attracted to each other.
This would translate differently.
Yeah, I just knew he had a beard and abs.
Which, okay, let me talk about the abs thing.
Oh my god, yes.
Okay, so she mentions that he has abs, and like at this point she is like feeling him up. So we are aware that he is very strong. My argument is if he is the buff lumberjack brawny man kind of style.
No, sexy farmer. No,
sexy farmer.
Sexy farmer.
They're not the ones going into the gym. The gyms are going to get you that chiseled six pack. The farm is just going to get you thick. Like you're going to be thick. You're not going to be chiseled, but you're going to be so incredibly strong. But like she describes him as chisel.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like it's that weird thing in which it feels like, remember when everyone was obsessed with having abs in like the 2010s? Like specifically with guys' physique. It feels like this book kind of came from that era a little bit. Like with like the arms I get. Like, okay, yeah, a man with nice arms.
Forearms specifically are also brought up.
Yeah. I get it. But it's like constantly when she's like, oh, you have abs. That's so hot. I'm like, I don't particularly when I'm into a guy, if I find him attractive or something, I'm not looking for abs specifically.
No, and that might be a millennial pulling in. Like we've talked about being very millennial.
Yeah. It's giving Logan looks like an Abercrombie model.
Wait, no, because he's
Like the
supposed to
black and
be
white
grumpy.
Abercrombie apples. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's what I was imagining in my brain the whole time, except hairier.
Wow, I was not. I won't lie. I was picturing like the brawny paper towel man.
Well, they do describe that he looks like that
They,
as well.
they do. They bring it up, and so then that got stuck in my brain.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
He's more model-esque for you. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they have this whole moment in the front seat, and then we get to find out that Jeannie is now at Logan's place.
There you go.
Yeah, she
shows up
shows
there.
up. She meets Nana. She meets the chickens,
Which are all pop girlies.
all pop girlies. Does she like fit in?
Does she?
Like in the farm life? I don't know if she fit in.
I mean, she likes the chickens, and I guess that's all Logan needed to be like, I want to talk about my chicken. I don't know. That was such a bad joke.
That was really bad. That was really bad. It was
It
good.
was so bad. That was such a bad joke. I don't know what about Jeannie screams to everyone that she belongs there. I guess it's like the thing. I mean, I think it's just plot armor, you know? Like it's just there. Like she just fits in because she does, you know?
It's because there's nothing to the contrary. Like she sits down and she plays with the chickens. Sure. She talks with his grandmother. Sure. And the grandmother is very knowing. She gives lots of winks. She's cute. I would love a little story about Nana and Pops. That'd be cute.
Yeah, they are.
Grandpa.
They are cute.
I
They are
wouldn't
very
mind that.
cute.
It's like,
Yeah.
and they took in an orphan.
They do. They do take in Logan Orphan. Logan Orphan? That's what I just said. Orphan Logan. Dear God.
Mhm. So in this moment, Ginny is talking to Logan and trying to like explain that she thinks something new is happening in the development of the mystery. She thinks it's from inside the house.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. She thinks it's a worker. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty clear
I
that
wonder
they have access.
who. I wonder who it could be. Could it be A, Norman, the disgruntled old employee from his Aunt Dot? B, Norman, the disgruntled employee in which Aunt Dot left? Or C, Norman.
Don't forget D, Joe. They describe him as a stupid teenager.
But he likes to drive old people around, you know, to water aerobics, and he's done that for Logan's Nana. Nana? I don't know.
Yeah, for a while. You know, I don't know. It's like it's very clear, and maybe it's because they're so infatuated with each other at this point that like Logan's not thinking straight because he totally could have told her this.
I just think it was bad writing.
That's probably
I think the author
it.
was trying to get us to look another direction, and it didn't work. But tell us what had been happening. What's been happening else at the cafe?
So, okay, you've got there's a cut pipe
To the
It's not a
refrigerator line. No, it's to the refrigerator line.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, there's something that was cut, and then the thermostat. No, that doesn't happen yet.
Thermostat does get bothered later. Yes.
It does get bothered later, but it's not yet. Not at this point.
Not yet.
What else we got?
I just remember the refrigerator. Let's just go with that.
I remember
It's
the
just the
refrigerator.
refrigerator.
Okay. Yeah.
Something else
I think
happened.
there were all these
Who
like
cares?
small things, but it was just enough where she was like, okay, it's clearly someone who has keys and access during the day.
Someone hid one of the paintings in a closet.
Oh, they hated the paintings got hid in the closet, and I feel like there's another like they're very like mild. Like these are the minor inconveniences that we kind of talked about in X Hex about being cursed with.
Yeah,
kind of happening.
Yeah.
They're happening to Jeannie.
Surprise! This is in Graves Glen, not Dream Harbor.
Yeah, there's actually a crossover situation. She's been next.
It's weird, guys. Oh, her mail got ruffled through and like thrown onto the sidewalk.
Yes. So it's obviously someone who's doing this, and you know what this puts them in the mood for?
Getting freaky up against another wall.
Against another wall. And this
Get
time in
on that
Logan's
wall.
room. Because he has
No,
like a little
yeah.
apartment. And whoa, they get interrupted again. This time
So crazy.
by Grandpa. He's talking farm business, and what does Logan do? He pushes Jeannie away when he hears that knock.
Yep.
I don't know. Like, Jeannie obviously is like a little hurt in the moment because they've talked about how they're keeping this
She's
quiet because of the
overreacting
town.
so much, though.
It's an overreaction. Yeah.
Okay. I'll wait to like comment on the full thing until we get to the fall festival and stuff like that. Because that whole thing pissed me off. But yeah, I was just like, girl, what do you want? Do you want it to be secret or do you not want it to be secret?
And I don't think they know. I think they know, and they don't.
I think they're both like, I actually do want to be with this person, but I'm going to be so silly and just not tell them. And it's just classic miscommunication trope. And guess what? Sydney hates it. Sydney hates it. I hate the miscommunication trope. I hate it.
They talk a little bit about this, and they kind of bring up, like, Jeannie asks about Lucy, and so they're getting serious in their conversations, but like, is it enough?
They're also dancing around the whole thing of Jeannie not being like, I think you're still into your ex, or you still have issues with your ex-girlfriend. And she won't say that, and then he won't say to her, hey, I'm worried that you just don't want to stay in town, which is like a normal human conversation to have with like a sexual or like intimate partner, and being like, hey, I'm growing to have feelings for you, I just want to talk about this. Just talk. God,
just talk about it. They're doing a lot of introspection, but on their own, because then we keep going,
so
and
fucking annoying. I'm
like,
just
Logan's
talk.
like sitting there thinking. He's like thinking about this, and he realizes, he's like, oh, Jeannie and Lucy, they're not the same person. They're different. And it's like, he's thinking this though. He needs to say this out loud, and because it's clear to Jeannie.
Girl. Yeah, but like that whole thing causes them not to be in contact for a week, which I started noticing that it was this point and then one other point that they also don't talk for another week. And I'm like, okay, so we've been together for half a month.
There's a lot of miscommunication during this like tiny amount of time.
Guys, what the fuck is going on?
Like, just talk. Come on, man. Use your words.
Use your words.
There's so much thinking, not enough talking.
Not enough talking. So much.
And when
brooding.
they are together, it's a lot of walls.
Yeah, I'm like, guys.
Physical and metaphorical.
I like that, metaphorical and physical walls.
Yeah, there's always something. They're always up against a wall. There's always something stopping them. And there's always an emotional wall. There's too many walls.
The emotional wall. Too many walls.
Tear down the wall. Come on, man.
God, that's so stupid. I love it.
It's really stupid, but hey, I mean, he's trying to get there. He's thinking it through. He's ruminating. Is that the word I'm looking for?
I'm saying brooding. He's more just brooding.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of brooding on his own, because like we said, they stopped talking. And so then he's like, oh, but like, is the town gonna judge me? But is like, but am I gonna screw it up with her? Like, and then he does chat it out with his buddy Noah, the farmer, or not farmer, Noah. the fisherman. Who's just there. We don't actually figure out what he does. They just say he like kind of works at the bar in the off season, and otherwise he's fishing.
Oh, he's a fisherman. Yeah, so his family owns a fishing company, and then in the winter, when there's not much business, he like works shifts at the bar.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I get it. Do what you got to do.
And like he kind of like, because he comes over to the farm
for no reason. No, the reason is that he was like, hey Logan, thought you died. No one's seen you for a week.
It's like, actually, is this the time when they think that he's gone on a retreat, or is that later? The other non-talking.
No, this is the second time. That was the second time that he left it.
Okay. Yeah, because this happens multiple times.
Yeah, because this is only the first time, guys.
Only the first time. So his buddy Noah shows up. I think they pop a beer. And he's like, Logan's like, don't do that on Nana's countertops. It's like Noah's trying to like pop open the top on the countertops. And I'm like, what a weird point to bring in. I can't explain that.
What to say. I just don't know what to say. Boy. He's a Nana's boy.
Yeah, so you get Logan's moment, and then you get Jeannie's moment. She calls her brother again because despite them not talking a lot when she was in Boston, she's been calling him a lot in this town, which is kind of cute to see her like get closer with her brother again. And she talks to him about Logan. The conversation here is kind of fun.
It was a little bit fun. I was like, okay, this does remind me a bit of like my conversations with my younger brother. So
yeah, it's like pulling teeth to get them to be serious, and then he is serious, and then you're like, I want you to be serious.
No, stop it! Actually, stop.
Because like Ben is kind of like, he's not a fan. He's like, well, he kind of sounds stupid. Like, why are you doing this?
Fair. And honestly, I would give the same advice if one of my friends came up to me, or if my brother asked me what to do.
Yeah, and like, because she had been like kind of not talking about him, and then he was like, so how's Logan?
And she's like,
like, she gets really sad, and it's like, they just hadn't been talking for like a week.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've got a lot of questions, but
I have so many questions and no answers.
No answers. But then it's the festival day. So the whole town's hype. Fall festival. We love dreams in this town.
Because we're called dreamers and we live in a harbor.
That's it. That's the song they sing.
That's the song they sing every single day when they wake up.
Yeah. And so we get festival day. Logan, Jeannie haven't talked in like a week. So dramatic. So Logan is like, you know what? I'm going to go find her. And she's crying in the cafe.
Oh my God. And the whole thing of him like arriving at her door, like banging on it because he doesn't get a response. He's like, where is she? Something happened. And she's just like, just crying on the floor in the cafe. I'm like, dude, chill.
It's kind of insane because he did set up her new locks. So I'm curious, like, could he, like, I don't know that whole situation.
I think they both have untreated anxiety.
Definitely, because he's very dramatic about it. He's like yelling her name in the alley. Like, he's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. But then she's just like on the floor crying and he's like, what happened? What's gone wrong?
Like, what's wrong? And then Logan's like, okay, like kind of related, unrelated, but I'm sorry for what I did.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. And then Jeannie's like, well, let's just like take things slow, chill out, because we're both like kind of freaking out in this situation. Are they communicating here?
But before this, I need to bring this up. We need to talk about this before we get too far into this because it relates to the third act breakup. Because a couple chapters before this was right when Jeannie was talking to her brother. She offhandedly says that she got papers from the realtor who had been apparently trying to buy the cafe this whole time. And it was like, like, look at how much money, like maybe she could leave. And she goes, no, I'm going to stay. And da-da-da-da-da. And like, I'm not going to leave here. And I called that shit from so far away. I just wrote down, that's going to cause a third act breakup. he's going to see them in his apartment and think that he's going to freak out and that she's moving away.
And it's like,
I won't spoil what happens next. It's almost like I predicted it or something, though.
It's almost like you predicted it. Because why is she like asking about prices? I don't think that's ever resolved.
No, she wasn't asking prices. The realtor was just giving them to her so that
she asked about the other places, though, I think.
I don't know. I don't know.
Either way,
honestly, didn't pay attention by this point.
It kind of felt like a red herring.
100%.
Like,
but I was like, third act breakup. That's what's going to cause it. I know it. I literally wrote, I'm calling this shit. The papers are going to cause Logan to freak out. And that's what's going to cause the miscommunication. Third act breakup.
You heard it here, folks. Sydney guessed it.
I guessed it.
She did. And like, it's kind of annoying because then it's like, it's cute because like Jeannie and Logan are like, okay, so they like hold hands, they're public. It's like, ooh, yeah. Oh no, they're holding hands in public.
Like, ooh, the town's gonna know right away.
They're gonna know. And they did. They picked up on it so fast.
Book club? Yeah, well, of course they did. They were like, whoa.
They're like touching fingers when they can.
But then, this is when things started pissing me off with Jeannie again. Because Logan like holds her hand in front of people, and before they go and do the costume contest, this is when she goes to Annie and Hazel, and she's like, I'm really scared I'm gonna mess this thing up because Logan basically like went public with us. And she's like sitting being like, I don't know, like I'm really scared, like I don't want to break his heart, da da da. I'm like, bitch, what the fuck do you want? Do you want him to be public with you and not tell people that you two are together, or do you want to keep it a secret? Because at this point, I don't fucking know, and I'm getting really tired of it. I'm sure Logan is too. Like,
so wishy-washy.
They just know that you guys are like hanging out and dating. It doesn't mean you have to marry the fucking guy. Like, chill out.
She's like, oh my god. Like, hand holding means it's like, basically we're married.
Oh my god, it pissed me off so much because I was just like, get a grip, girlfriend.
It's a lot of Jeannie needing to get a grip, and she doesn't.
And she doesn't. There's no grip. She needs to go actually to the grippy sock place and have some evaluations.
From the grippy sock place? I can't say I've been to one.
The mental ward?
Oh, guys.
Does it give you grippy socks?
Oh, that's good. Okay, yeah.
All I'm saying is she obviously needs to unpack a lot of trauma that she's going through, and she needs professional help. Because, I mean, I feel like I say this every single time we go into a book. I feel like every time I say the female lead needs to go to therapy. I'm just advocating for therapy. I think everyone needs to go.
She could really use it, but instead, she goes to judge the costume contest.
And it gets crazy. It's chaotic.
They mentioned like a fist fight at one point, and I'm like, this is not the kind of town to have a fist fight. Like, what?
Oh my god. Then don't get me started on the stupid, like the little, and I don't know why this was inserted. Funny joke about the erotic book club. But this part could have been like wholly taken out, is that apparently two of the characters from the book club decided to dress up as their favorite like erotic book club cover, and people were like booing at them, and they were like, oh no, we need to raise like sex positive kids. And I'm like, guys, time and place. Like, this is so stupid.
That felt very Pawnee to me. It was like that episode of Parks and Rec with the painting, and they were like arguing about art. It kind of felt like it was trying to pull that in.
I don't know. It just, everything didn't fit, and nothing, like, no one made decisions in which a real person would make. And I think that's what just sent me over the edge at this point, where I was just like done with it.
There's so many things. I'm looking at it now, and it mentions that Logan had already broken up almost one fist fight between two moms decked out in athleisure, each claiming their little zombie was the most terrifying. A woman had clawed at him, so the pocket on his flannel hung limply from his chest, where one woman had clawed at him as he removed her from the stage. Then there was a debate over which version of Batman was the real one, and then the riot with the
at this
romance
point,
novel cover.
Yeah, and it's like, hey guys, at this point the police would have been called and the costume contest would have been called off.
Yeah, like what is this? And then their finalist, it's what, a bumblebee?
It's a bumblebee that's about to piss itself. The mayor costume, and then one other that I can't remember.
Oh, okay, I got it right here. I highlighted this because I did think this was funny. I'll give some points for this. I thought that if this was a TV show or a movie, I would find this entertaining. It was a very convincing Wednesday Addams, made all the more impressive by the fact that Andy was actually a 45-year-old black man.
Okay, true. That was funny.
I was like, that was entertaining. I did enjoy that.
That was pretty funny. Okay, yeah.
And Mayor Kelly is funny. I always think it's hilarious when someone dresses up as a real person that they know and that other people would know. Because I think it also says here that right down to the hideous tie and a dream bubble made of poster board hovering above her head. That's really good.
Yeah, that was cute. Like that writing right there, I was like, okay, that's cute. We can cut back on the rest.
Cut back on the rest. I like these little town moments that feel a little bit more genuine. Like I could totally see this because it's also the person who did it was the deputy mayor. So it's like they're like picking fun. I was like, that's really good. Like where was this in the rest of the book?
Yeah, I wanted more. Like I wanted to be shown why the community likes each other and like them. I don't know, being more close knit. I don't know, but yeah, this moment I was like, okay, yeah, I could see like this being a small town behavior.
It felt fun. And of course, then it's like they don't actually make a decision. It can't be the bumblebee. And they're like, well, we can't do Wednesday Addams, blah, blah, blah. So they're like, okay, we're going with the mayor.
Yeah, and they just call out the results, and Logan's like, oh, time to go get freaky in a haunted house.
Literally, they're like, okay, here's the thing, and then they're like off to the haunted house where we can go in the corner where apparently other couples have been also caught all day.
Oh, another wall, Christina. They're up against another fucking wall.
Another wall. How many? We're at like, what's the wall count at this point?
We're at 5.
We're at 5. That's so rough.
We're at 5.
Well, and then
they finally do the age appropriate thing, don't they? And they go finally back to her apartment to have sex.
Which, for a book that's supposed to be spicy, this is at what point? Chapter 26, and there's 30, 32, 33 chapters?
There's 33,
That's late in the game if this book is supposed to be spicy.
Well, it's also only 200 pages, so I guess it just felt shorter in general. So if we had longer chapters, then maybe this would feel more...
Maybe. But then they also met on page 2, basically.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
They've had a lot of pages.
Yeah, they've been dry humping for the third of the book.
For a while, and then they're not even talking for some of that book.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, they finally go have sex in Jeannie's apartment, and it was fine. I thought the smut was okay.
I was gonna say, how do you feel? You read a lot for the podcast. How does this compare?
How does this compare? It was. You know what it was? It read very much like fan fiction in the sense that it was descriptive in some ways, but not descriptive in others.
The fan fiction, yes.
You're picking up on what I'm putting down?
Yeah, it read very fan fiction-y. Mm-hmm.
Like it's a lot of like, he stroked me to my core and he found the spot that I never knew existed. And I'm like, you could just say he fingered you. Like, we could just say that, right?
I almost thought it was going to be fade to black from the way that it was being described.
Yeah, it kind of felt like that. Also, I love that she just randomly has the condoms that fit him in her apartment. I'm like, damn, girl, how did you get that right?
And the fact that like all of her stuff is like not unpacked really, but she's like, nah, that's in the bathroom though.
Yeah, she knew she wanted to get. She psychologically knew she wanted to get dick down.
I didn't know. Did she bring this with her from Boston, or did she have to go in town and buy these?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what she did. I don't know how that happened. But yeah, it's just I don't know. It was fine. Like it would be very passable and like if I was reading like a bunch of fan fiction in one night, I'd be like, yeah, that's about right. For a spicy romance book, I expected more.
Yeah, for it being said to be spicy.
I expected more.
And then,
you want to know what I think is what made it spicy? Is the fact he went down on her first, and people are like, "Oh, spicy,
crazy! What a concept! A female author."
Ladies, this is a PSA out to all the ladies out there. If your partner isn't going down on you, you may want to reconsider.
Sydney dropping facts around here.
That's what you're considering spicy. Ashton's giving me a horrified look right now. All I'm saying is, ladies, if you're not satisfied in the bedroom, there's other things that you gotta figure that shit out.
Sydney, I'm cutting you off. Moving on.
Cut me off.
Because guess what comes after this? Guess what comes after this? The third act
Logan
breakup.
And Jeannie. Oh, I was gonna say Logan and Jeannie because they do that.
They do.
They do. But yeah, you're right. Third act breakup time. The inevitable.
He sees the papers about selling.
Hey guys, hey, scroll back 10 to 15 minutes ago. What happened? I called it.
Yeah, we heard it. Sydney did call it, and it did happen. He misread the papers because this is miscommunication again. No one's talking. Everyone's just looking.
They're all just they all jump. They're really good at jumping to conclusions.
And then it's like, it's kind of insane because then he's like, blah, 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 like, I can't believe, like, she's not going to be, like, here. I think he even calls it her temporary apartment. And then you go immediately to Jeannie seeing Norman messing with the thermostat.
Well, I want to, like, talk about the Jeannie apartment thing first before we go to the Norman thing. I do hate that Logan is just like, well, you're just temporarily staying here. And she's like, what are you talking about? And she's like telling him, I don't want to go. And he's like not listening to her. That was a very asshole move.
Super. He's not listening. Come on.
He's not listening, and he's telling her what she wants. And like, that's not cool, you know?
And the only thing that he's like kind of basing this off of is the papers and the fact that she hasn't unpacked. But to be fair, she mentioned that she was busy, and like it took me months to unpack on my own. Like she's had no one to help her with it.
And she's running a full-time business downstairs. So like,
and the full-time business is getting tampered with.
Yeah, by who, Christina?
Ooh, is Norman.
What? That's so crazy.
Our grumpy, alive old man.
Our grumpy, alive old man.
It's
not
crazy.
The one who died.
And the funny thing is, like, that's what he got caught doing. He's done all of these other things that are a lot more dramatic, like cutting things and just tampering the thermostat. And he's like, I quit.
Well, the fact he confessed to what he did. In this whole thing, he told her, he went, yeah, I hired someone to scare you. Jeannie, police charges. And she goes, no, I can't do that. I feel so sad and bad for him. And it's like, and guys, the whole reason he quits and the whole reason he did all this was because he wanted to buy the cafe from Aunt Dot in the first place.
And Aunt Dot said that Jeannie needed it more.
Yeah, and it's like, It's so stupid. And it's like, it's such maniac behavior. And the fact Jeannie's like, oh no, he's just a sad old man. I'm not going to like press charges or like do a restraining order or something. Nope, nothing.
He hired someone to break the windows of your place of business. That's kind of insane.
And cut the lines to the refrigerator. He said he did that too. That guy did it too.
Yeah, he was like doing things that like actually mess up the business. They weren't just always like oh,
those
I'm
are crimes.
Things. That's a crime.
Yeah, that's a crime.
She said, "No, Norman, don't leave. You can't leave me with the shop
with Crystal." Like, yeah,
like what? She's been doing fine with the cafe.
Yeah, and so Jeannie like is in the background and crying and everything. She goes, "No, I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna go work in my cafe." And she does like her boss girl walk out there, and I'm like, "This is so fucking dumb. I want it to be done now."
She's like, I think at this point, she talks about how she's like, well, I just got broken up with. And she's like, well, is it a breakup if we weren't dating? And then she calls Logan, quote, the big dummy. And then she's like, hey, Crystal, sorry about that.
Yeah. God.
And, like, she's compartmentalizing, I guess, at this point in the story.
I mean, I guess she has to if she's got to try and save her business. I don't know. At this point, I was like, this is so stupid. I want this book to be done now.
Yeah, so she's just putting herself into work, and then we get that Hazel and Annie come over to the farm to talk some sense into Logan because he's kind of acting crazy. And it's
been what? 1 week later.
It's been 1 week since I dumped you. You know the song.
Yeah. It's been 1 week since you looked at me. Na, da, 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 da.
That's the one.
That one.
So, like, they come over because despite it seeming like Annie and Hazel, like, they're supposed to be Logan's BFFs, but you get more scenes with them with Jeannie than you do with Logan. So they're finally over.
Yeah.
And they're trying to talk sense into him, and he's like, no, I need to fix the farm. And they're like, dude, everyone thinks you've been gone on a retreat.
Yeah, because you disappeared. And I love Hazel being just like, dude, you have abandonment issues. And he's like, oh.
Like, what do you mean? And she's like, dude, like, your dad left, your mom died, your girlfriend left after you tried to propose to her. That's a lot of big life things.
Yeah, you got issues, dude. Oh my God. I'm just shaking my head at the rest of this book. It's not even that bad. I think it was just everything just together pissed me off.
Everything being mediocre makes it feel worse than if it was bad, because it wasn't entertaining. None of this is entertaining. It's just frustrating to read.
Yeah. Like, and like,
again,
I'll let you go. I've yapped so much.
You're good. It's like, at this point, so like they're talking sense into him, and once again, news is dropping from someone that's not Jeannie, and they're telling him, and it's like, Norman left, and it's like, why did he quit? And Jeannie's just being weird about it, and he starts like getting upset about that, and like, I think specifically, I'm looking at it right now, and he quote growled.
I know
exactly how unhinged he sounded, but not able to stop it.
I want to know. I did see this is like something on TikTok where people are like, what does it sound like when someone growls? Like, like, is that what it sounds like? Do your best growl. Go.
Norman.
Norman. I didn't like that. I didn't like that one bit. Yeah, that was a different growl. Yeah, I know. Hey, Ashlyn, can you give us your best growl? Come on.
Roar.
Roar.
Roar XD.
Is that not what happens during your sexy time?
I won't speak on that.
Okay, so we get like this talk from Annie and Hazel, and Logan ends it with, quote, "It was time to finally let that shit go." And I'm like, it's chapter 29. We're almost at the end of the book, and it took that long? Okay. So we're getting Jeannie,
I'm not
and
surprised.
she's
It's
putting
the
herself
reunion.
into work. It's the
It's the reunion.
reunion. Her brother's like, "Hey, are you alive?" And this kind of sums up the book for me. At this point, it says, quote, "She solved the mystery of who is causing all the problems, or rather, the mystery had anticlimatically solved itself."
Yeah, that is the whole book.
It's very meta, because I'm like, it did. Every little mystery was like anticlimactic.
Yeah, I was like, oh, yeah, I called that shit.
Sydney knew the whole time. If Sydney knew.
It was Sydney all along.
So then we get the reunion. He comes in. He comes barging in to the cafe.
Oh my
Everyone's
God.
there. It's so public.
I cringed so hard. I was like,
He's like, "I need to see her, Joe." And poor Joe, who drives the elderly.
he's just an emo teen, and he's just like, what am I to do?
And Jeannie's like in the back in like the storage pouch. She's like, "Stay strong, Joe. He can do it." And it's like Logan is just like, he's being super loud, and he's like, "Where is she?" And then he just starts calling her. He's like, "Jeannie."
I'm like, sir, the last time you did something like this, it didn't work out. What? Hey, scientific theory. There's the thing where it's like the scientific theory. You test something once. No, it's something about insanity. I don't remember exactly, but it's like when you do the same thing over again, but you expect a different result.
That's insanity. Yeah.
Yeah, that's insanity. Like that, like, sir, it didn't work the first time, and you got your heart broken quite badly. Why are we doing it a second time?
Yeah. He thinks it's a good idea. Except for this time, it's public, but it's not as public. Like, at least it's not the tree lighting. It's just the cafe when it's super busy and the book club's there. Like, it's fine. And so Jeannie's in the back.
Cool.
Logan's in the front. He's being loud. He's like, "I'll say it in front of everyone." And she doesn't say anything. So he says, "Okay, I guess that's my answer." Logan went on, "Jeannie, I've been a real ass." Someone in the crowd let out a little cheer after that.
And everybody clapped.
And everybody clapped. Because it's like, yeah, that's true. So then she comes out because he called her bluff pretty much. And she pulls him into the back, which it says there were actual boos as they left the room.
And everybody clapped.
And everybody claps. So they go to the back room. They chatting it up.
And then what do they do,
into his
Christina?
eyes. What do they do? Is there a wall?
There's a locker.
There's a locker. That's a wall. It's a wall.
That's a wall.
Mm-hmm. They say, we should have talked sooner, and then they stop talking.
Yep.
That's exactly it. And then poor Joe comes in. Well, because they do get a little serious, and she's like, "Well, I solved the mystery. Norman wanted to buy the cafe." They talk about Dot, blah blah blah. There's a lot of blah 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 at this point because we already know. We already know this. We don't need it rehashed, but we are getting it, and it's exhausting.
It is. I'm exhausted by this point. I was like, can we be done now? And then I saw we had 4 more chapters, and I was like, fuck.
There's still so much, and they bring up the hedgehog pajama pants. They bring up the snack foods.
Oh, right,
it's very
is the love
circle.
confession.
It's the love confession.
They say, "I love you."
Yeah. Here we go. Actually, so I'm reading it now. So they're talking. He says, "Does pumpkin carrying rank high on a man's attributes for you?" And she says, "Apparently," Jeannie said with a grin, and he kissed her smile. "It's good training for this." She launched herself into his arms, and Logan caught her with an oof escaping his lips. His back hit the lockers, rattling them. So he's against the wall.
He's against the wall, which is different. But again, he's picked her up. But then Oh, but then when he carries her out into the cafe, I was like, oh my God, I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this.
Literally, and well, okay, but before that even happens, because Joe comes in and is like, "Oh, I heard a crash," and
God.
he's like, "Oh no, sorry," and so Jeannie gives him a thumbs up, and then I did highlight this part. A cheer broke out in the cafe, and she says, "Joe is not known for his discretion."
Oh dear. I am just done. I'm so done.
And that's when he was inspired to just carry her out.
Yep. You know, barbarian wedding
He
style.
says, "I love this woman." He announced gruffly.
And everyone's like, yeah, no shit. Okay. And then like his friend comes to take over the rest of the cafe for the rest of the day so Jeannie and him can go bone. So I'm rushing over that point because I got so mad at this because fun fact about me. I'm a barista on the weekends. So I work at a local coffee shop here in town and I make coffee. So I do typical espresso drinks and like specialty lattes, so on and so forth. So I know my way around an espresso machine. Guys, it's harder than it looks. You can't just like go back there. And the fact that Logan is like, "Hey, Noah, you can handle this, right?" And Noah's like, "Yeah, I'm a bartender. I could definitely do that." I'm like, "No, you can't." He doesn't know how many grams.
He jumps over the counter.
Sir, I'm like, "Sir, you don't know how many grams of coffee goes into there. You don't know how, like, what roasts they use. You know nothing. You don't even know the measurements of the lattes. Like, no, you can't just go back there. It's hard." And you have to be like, okay, so he's a bartender, so he would have a food carrying license, so he would be fine. But still, it's like the principle behind it. I'm just like, I'm offended. I'm like, my job's harder than it looks. I make little potions for people to enjoy, so leave me alone.
Little potions. Yeah, Noah doesn't know how to make the little potions.
No, he doesn't know the measurements. He doesn't know of how many milliliters go into each latte, or like the measurements of like if it's like mocha, caramel, and like something else. He doesn't know.
He has no clue, and they have him running the cafe, or like not running the cafe, but he's helping out for like at least a day or two because she takes off to just go to Logan's apartment.
And do what, Christina? Tell us what they do.
Oh, what do? They woo-hoo.
No, oh, come on, Christina. You could say
like
it.
in The Sims. Yeah, they have a lot of sex. A lot.
They do. It's a lot.
All at the end of the book. Oh.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
It was just like, I won't lie. I found myself skimming because I was like, where is the end of this book?
Yeah. I was like, I truly do not care. Honestly, okay. Do you want to? I will say, do you want the kinkiest thing? And it's not even that kinky in this book that they do is the fact she gives him a blowjob in the shower.
It's not that crazy.
It was not that bad. It's like not that crazy.
And like I think I've read that in a YA novel. Like I'm not saying that's good for YA, but
fiction.
I've definitely read that.
Hey. I love that Ashton just looked up in shock. I'm like, I've read something in a YA novel like that too.
YA,
like, what YA
needs
are
some
you
help.
guys reading?
Wait. What YA books are you guys reading?
Man, things got crazy. I mean, if you're talking about like Sarah J. Maas, she technically was
Sarah
YA.
J. Maas is new adult
now, but she was YA. All of those books were YA.
Yeah.
So
True.
This was way back before new adult was becoming a thing. I read a lot of steamy YA that should not have been labeled YA. They need some help.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's I don't know. No, yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was the spiciest thing they did is the fact that Jeannie was like, "I wanna blow you in the shower," and Logan's like, "Hell yeah."
It's very, very vanilla. They don't have to worry about a condom. She said she went back on the pill.
Which is not how the pill works. You need to wait longer than a week for the pill to work. She's gonna get so fucking pregnant.
And let me tell you, like, once again, is she going to a local pharmacy? Who runs the local pharmacy? They know this.
I was about to say she's loading up on condoms and pills. They're like, damn, Logan's in for it, I guess. I don't know.
And then I think she gets hungry. They make, is it cup of noodles?
Yes.
Cup of noodle, yeah. She has that, and then old Nana comes knocking.
Yeah. Oh, right, because Nana comes a knocking and goes, come have dinner, and they're like, yeah, and then that's when they go to the shower and do their one somewhat spicy thing.
One mediocrely spicy thing right after Nana came.
Yep.
And so then they go. It's very fade to black kind of at this point where you're like assuming that they're having a good time.
More good time, more sex.
More good time. And then Jeannie's deciding to tell Annie and Hazel about all of this because somehow they hadn't heard about it.
Oh, they weren't there when it happened, I guess.
But the news in the town spread so fast. I am shocked they didn't hear
I think they knew. I think they knew it happened.
Okay.
I think they wanted to hear it from her.
Okay, because they wanted the details, but then they say what Ashlyn said earlier. I don't want too many details about my friend.
Yeah, fair. Oh, but then Aunt Dot randomly shows back up, and I was like, "Why is she here?"
And it's because like Jeannie called her, told her about the whole Norman situation,
This
and then
whole
they're like
chapter could have been cut out.
It was really awkward because like if you're gonna get like an Aunt Dot Norman situation, like it felt very just added and rushed in, but
yeah, it felt like we needed padding for more for more pages. Like we weren't quite at the max amount.
Yeah, because then they just like they kind of rush through it. It's like, oh, I didn't know you liked me. I didn't know you liked me, and they're both pretty old, where they've worked many years together. But
yeah,
then they,
I don't know what the fuck was going on there.
Yeah, and then Jeannie has a moment where she's like, new Jeannie and old Jeannie mixed together. So she thinks that she can be cheerful and dark, messy and competent, sunshine and rain. So she is both sunshine and grumpy. Confirmed.
Listeners, I know you can't see this, but my head is just in my hand right now because I'm just so done with this stupid book.
It doesn't get much better. In the epilogue, It's like Jeannie's apartment is finally being unpacked. The whole town apparently has come to help us, or help her unpack everything.
She's a permanent person there now. She's a dreamer. She's a part of Dream Harbor.
She's a dreamer. And that's pretty much where we end because, quote, everything was better in Dream Harbor with Jeannie by his side. And that's where it ends, folks. That's it.
That's it, everybody.
Sydney's head is still in her hands.
I just don't want to be here anymore. I'm sad I wasted hours of my life on this. The more that we've talked about it, the more of a hater I become.
I'm really glad because I did not like this book from the beginning. I had a hard time reading it. I don't think I would have finished it if I didn't have to read it for the podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy Sydney's on my side now.
Yeah. Originally, I rated it higher, but the more we've talked about it, I'm like, no, I'm more of a hater, so I should rate it lower. So
amend the rating. Woo!
Yeah.
Hater club.
Well, I haven't put it out yet, so I'll amend it.
Okay, perfect.
Well, Ashlyn, do you have some questions for us?
I have a lot of questions. So my first question is one that we've kind of talked about a little bit. For the most part, we all stumbled across this book on some form of social media. The book was sold to us as a spicy, grumpy sunshine, small town romance, perfect for fans of Gilmore Girls. What do you think of that description? Is it accurate?
This is such a quick answer. No, it was not as spicy as it said that it was. No, it wasn't really grumpy sunshine. No, it was not really found family. And it did rip off Gilmore Girls a lot.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Christina on a lot of that, especially like it's not spicy. And guys, if you think this is spicy,
Read some YA novels.
Read some YA novels, apparently. And it really wasn't grumpy sunshine. I mean, Logan was quiet and reserved. That's not grumpy. Like, when I expect grumpy, I expect, like, I'm big and tough to everyone else except you. You know? Like, that's what I expect from a grumpy sunshine.
Rahash.
Yes, Rahash. Rahash can get it. And I mean, there's a lot of. I have not seen Gilmore Girls, so I can't really say it was a ripoff.
You've got to watch this one episode.
I'll watch one episode, and I'll give you my conclusion there later. So, I mean, I definitely see characteristics from it. I think it's better for a show rather than a book.
Yes, there was a lot of things that I think would be better visually, and I think the book was trying to get that across, but you can only describe someone's abs so many ways.
Truly.
We here at the Raunchy Power Hour podcast hate a third act breakup. What other point of conflict would you have added to avoid
To avoid it?
More of a dramatic reveal with Norman. That could have been less anticlimactic, and that could have been the climax, like, moment of, like, this is the big moment.
Yeah, I think actually that would be great, because then Jeannie and Logan could still, like, be together, and it'd be like, well, it's revealed that Norman's been the one sabotaging it because he wanted to buy the cafe or something, and he's like, doesn't want anyone else to have it, so he's gonna take it away, you know?
It could have been way more dramatic, but it wasn't.
Would have been.
Or a murder.
An actual murder would have helped.
Real spice around here.
Real spice around here, guys. So yeah, I would agree with that.
Do you think that Logan and Jeannie stayed together following the end of this book?
Well, considering there's 4 other books after this, I'm gonna assume they make appearances in that. So yeah, I don't like it.
I feel like it's the book. I feel like they already had their multiple breakups. So
yeah, and it's like
for a wedding.
Yeah, it's just inevitable that they are endgame. You know, like, it's one of those couples in a TV show or something. You're like, they're gonna end up together. It's inevitable. Like, it's gonna happen.
It's very X-Hex of them, where I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is like the main couple that shows up.
Oh, actually, you know what? There's a series that I think does this whole thing, like, a little bit better that I actually want to suggest to listeners here. Because I read this trilogy earlier this summer, and it's called the Brightfall series, and it begins with Delilah Green Doesn't Care. It's giving off, like, same small town vibes, but it's also an interesting dynamic because it's also gay, so it's really fun because it's lesbians. And I really enjoyed the series. The spice is actually good. And the actual attraction between the characters is, like, actually interesting. Especially within the first and second book. I really love those 2 books. So if you want a different version of this series, I would go check out Bright Falls instead of Dream Harbor.
What would you rate this book on a scale 1 to 5?
For me, definitely, I originally said 2. I could be swayed to 1. I think I was so unentertained. There was not much that was funny, not much that pulled my attention in. It just was That's the best way I have to describe it.
I am making it a 2.5. I can see why people would want to read this and like it, but it's so just middle of the board. Like, it's it's not bad, but it's not good either. So it is truly just in the middle for me.
Yeah, there's not much that would make me want to recommend it to someone unless someone's like, I literally just want to read words on a page.
If someone was like, I want to read a really, like, actually, no, I would still recommend Bright Falls instead. If someone was like, I want to read a small town romance, I'd be like, go read Bright Falls. And they'd be like, but it's lesbians. I'd be like, are you homophobic?
Call them out, Sydney. Call them out.
And if you are, then yeah, go read Pumpkin Spice Cafe because you'll enjoy it, I think.
It's real good vanilla.
Yeah, I do want to find an actual cute, like, Hallmark-ish movie book. Like, I'd love to find that. I would love to find a cute romance book that is like a Hallmark movie, but in a book. And it's actually good.
Yeah, because it wasn't this one.
No, I just wanted it more fun and quirky, I guess. I thought it would be more fun and quirky, and it wasn't as fun and quirky. It was just kind of lame.
No, and the few like quirky moments that we got were kind of fun, but like I think I'm gonna forget it real soon.
Yeah. It was just, I hate to say it, but it was just very forgettable. But with that, Christina, great job on your first summary of a book. I'm so proud of you. Look at you coming from unpaid intern to unpaid host and now summarizing whole books. You're so good at this.
Thanks. Yeah, what a book to jump in on.
You know what? It's better than what I did when we first did Ice Planet Barbarians. So at least you don't have to do the first one of that one.
Iconic.
Yeah, it was iconic, but it also was something. Anyway, we're gonna say goodnight to you guys with that. If you guys want to listen to other episodes of us where we can give our full thoughts and opinions on so many books, go listen to another episode. If you want to interact with us online, go to Instagram, TikTok, go to X, go on to Twitch or YouTube. Go find us. Go talk to us. Tell us what you think about us yapping for how many ever hours you guys are listening to these podcasts. And let us know if you guys want us to read something that you've found on the internet. Now, if you loved that chaotic summarization of this book, just wait until next week where we read Pulled Hard by the Voting Machine. It just seems very iconic for the moment in which we're in. So stay tuned for that. And we'll have Lauren back next time to spread the craziness and the raunchiness. But with that, I will say goodnight to you pumpkin cutie pies.